Today's going to be a little bit of a different video because at the beginning of this year, I challenged myself to read 100 novellas in 100 days, which was honestly an insane thing to do. But I had so much fun reading these very short little books in 100 days. I read one every single day. I also posted about all of these books over on my TikTok if that's a series that you're interested in watching. But I never really did a deep dive into all the books I read and did a wrap up for that. And I think enough time has passed that I'm ready to do that. So I have loaded into Tier Maker every single novella that I've read this year. I read 106 novellas this year. Obviously, I got a little bit sick of novellas after I did my challenge, so I haven't read many since, but we're going to talk about them here and I'm going to rank them. So let's jump into my tier list, which is on my computer. So if I'm looking back and forth, it's because I'm on my computer literally looking at the tier list. First, I have my bottom tier. There's a Special Place in Hell, and that's for the books that I just obviously hated. It was a no star or a 1-star read. I obviously will have my reasons for that, and reading is so very objective, so you may have a different opinion on these. I'd love to hear it below, so feel free to tell me if you disagree with my personal rankings. Then I've forgotten about it already. I read it, I didn't hate it, but I can't remember a single thing about it, so it obviously didn't stick with me. Up next, in the third and middle tier, it's Nothing to Write Home About. It was fine. I don't know if I would recommend it, but it was something I read. Then I have my solid 5-star reads tier. These are books that I would recommend to people. I remember the plot. I think about it every once in a while. They're pretty good books. They're pretty good novellas. I would put them on a rec list. And finally is the final tier, and it is, I literally cannot shut up about this. These are the books that, of course, I cannot shut up about. And if I really like a book, you're gonna hear me talk about it over and over and over and over and over again, because when I find a book that I truly love, I have to tell everyone I know about it. So I don't know how many are going to end up on that top list. I don't know how many are going to end up on that top tier, but we're going to dive in and see where we get. So let's get started with the very first book up, and it is Devil to Pay by Janine Frost. This is part of a series by Janine Frost called the Night Huntress series, which I've slowly been working my way through. There's like 15 books in this series, and there's a bunch of novellas interspersed. I have a lot of fun reading them, but I wouldn't really put them on rec lists unless you are looking very specifically for like pulpy, ridiculous, supernatural, paranormal type vibes. So I'm gonna put this on Nothing to Write Home About, which I think is a good place to start my tier list. Up next is Egghead by Bo Burnham. This is actually a book of poetry, and I really like Bo Burnham. I think he's really smart and kind of a genius, and I think his stuff is really funny. However, with Egghead, while I did like some of the poems in it, I think that this book is very much of its time, and its time is like 2015, and some of the poems in it didn't really age that well with the book. So unfortunately, I think Bo Burnham is going into Nothing to Write Home About. Up next is Galatea by Madeline Miller. This was a really good book. This is about a man sculpted the perfect woman and she became his wife. This was a really cool story. It is so tiny. I think it's under 50 pages if I'm remembering correctly, but it packs a punch. I would say solid 5-star read only because it didn't stick out to me. It's not one that I talk about a lot, but it is a really good read. I would definitely recommend it to people. It's just not one of my favorites. So I'm going to put it into solid 5-star reads. Up next, I'm just going to do these two together. It is A December Bride and A January Bride. This was part of a series where there was a bride for every month. So it went like December to November. I didn't really enjoy these. I just saw these on the Libby app and I thought, oh, that might be interesting to read. I was reading 100 novellas. I was having trouble sourcing the novellas, so I started going through Libby app and just looking up the length of books, and I found these as part of that. I didn't enjoy them. I didn't really like them, so I'm gonna put them into I've already forgotten about it, only because I didn't hate them. They were just okay. They were just fine. I would put them around like a 2 or 3 star. So I'm gonna put them in I've already forgotten about it, because I'm saving There's a Special Place in Hell for some very special books. All right, now we have all of the novellas from Tales from the Shadowhunters Academy. This is part of the Shadowhunter Mortal Instruments universe, and it's about Simon Lewis's time at the Shadowhunters Academy after he's become a Shadowhunter. I love this series. It's just so nostalgic for me, and Simon is one of my favorite characters, so I had a lot of fun following these. There was one or two that were much better than the other. However, they weren't groundbreaking, they weren't mind-blowing. So I think I'm gonna put everything in that series, which is 10 novellas, into Nothing to Write Home About. I did like it as a companion, but on its own, it's pretty much a useless book because you need so much background to get to the point where you can even read Tales of the Shadowhunters Academy. So it's going into the mid-tier because that's pretty much where it has to go. Up next, we have Warrior's Heart by S.E. Smith. This is a monster romance, and I think it's about two sisters and two brothers. I don't know. I don't really remember. I just know I hated it. Can I remember why I hated it? I think just because it was like weird and like kind of boring. I finished it because it was a challenge. I had to finish them, but I didn't enjoy it. I think this might be my first There's a Special Place in Hell, but honestly, I could not tell you why there's a special place in hell for it. I just remember not liking it at all. Up next is The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. Gillian Flynn is such a prolific writer, and I've only read Sharp Objects by her. It was so unsettling, and I loved that about it. The Grown Up was okay. It was pretty good. I really did enjoy it, especially because there's a lot of misses in these 100 novellas, and The Grown Up was one of the highlights for me. However, I honestly don't really think about it that much, so I'm going to put it in solid 5-star read because I remember liking it a lot. I just wasn't obsessed with it. Now we have the first two novellas in the Murderbot diaries. So we have All Systems Red and Artificial Conditions. I really did enjoy these, but I didn't enjoy them so much that I had to go back and finish the series, which I still plan to do. It's just not a high priority. So these are going to go into my Nothing to Write Home About. I have recommended them in videos before because I think if you enjoy sci-fi and stories about artificial intelligence, these are really good. They're just, for me, not something that I'm constantly thinking about or going back to. So I would put them on my Nothing to Write Home About tier. Up next, we have Hannah Beast, and I honestly can't even read the author because it's so small and I don't remember it offhand. But Hannah Beast, I actually really enjoyed. It was really weird, and it was set on Halloween, and it's like an eerie creature feature type of novella. I would say it's a 5-star read because I remember really enjoying it after I finished reading it. The Sleep Tight Motel, I genuinely couldn't tell you a thing about this. I don't know what it is about. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember the characters. I don't remember the plot. So it's gonna go in I've already forgotten about it only because I couldn't tell you if I hated it, but I believe I would remember it if I hated it. So it's going in I've already forgotten about it. And it's getting off lucky, I guess, because I can't remember it. So I have forgotten about it. The Best Girls by Hinji Lee is about a young girl growing up in 80s China, I believe. I need to fact check myself. But I really did like this one. It's about family, it's about sacrifice, and it's about the weight put onto the eldest daughter. And I really enjoyed it. So this is a solid 5-star read. The Wedding, I believe, is about a couple who has attended a bunch of weddings together but have not gone to the next step in their own relationship. It's just okay, and I honestly can't remember a lot of plot details, so it's going into I've already forgotten about it. Can You Feel This? I don't remember it. It's going into I've already forgotten about it. Zenith Man, I remember actually enjoying. It was a little bit different. It's about a man who repairs TVs, and I believe his wife dies one day, but nobody really knew her other than him. And I believe that there's suspicions around his relationship with her, and it delves into her history and why she was so reclusive. I am going to put this into, it's kind of between 5-star reads and Nothing to Write Home About, but I think I'm going to knock it down a tier just because, again, it doesn't stand out to me. Lion's Den is a very strange one. It is about the relationship between father and son. The son essentially participated in an expose of his father when he was younger, and now he's coming to terms with that as his father is aging. I enjoyed this, but it is Nothing to Write Home About. Will Williams, I believe it's about a man in prison who's grappling with the path that his life has taken. It's Nothing to Write Home About for me, but I do remember it being pretty good. Again, it was just not a standout. Brownstone is a YA graphic novel about a young girl who is going to live with her father for the first time. She's never really gotten to know him since her parents divorced when she was quite young, and she really isn't in touch with her Hispanic roots. And while she's living in New York with her father, she gets to know the people in the neighborhood, gets to understand where she comes from more, and her father really wants to throw her a quinceañera, but that's not something that she's really interested in because she didn't grow up being in touch with that side of herself and her heritage. I really enjoyed this one. This is a 5-star read for me, and the art was really beautiful. I Just Want to Be Yours was an e-arc I received, and it is another graphic novel manga. This is about a young girl who is in love with her trans best friend, if I remember correctly. I thought it was okay. I just didn't find it very special, and I honestly found the main character pretty annoying. So I'm going to put it into I've forgotten about it already. Girl in the Sea is another graphic novel. I really enjoyed this one. This is like a queer coming of age story, but it's told through the lens of a human falling in love with a Kelpie. And I thought this was really, really cute. I ended up buying this graphic novel for my daughter, and she really likes it as well. So this is going at 5-star for me. Shine, Pamela Shine, weird book. And pretty much all I can remember about it is that I felt weird after I finished it. It is going into I've already forgotten about it. Graceful Burdens by Roxane Gay is so good. It's so odd and honestly has like a very dreading feeling, but it's essentially in this world where only women of certain types are allowed to have children. And so women who aren't allowed to have children and are longing for children can check a baby out of the library, essentially. And she decides to check a baby out of the library one day. She's never really thought about where these babies come from, but she comes into contact with a group of women who are rescuing these library babies. And at the same time, her life is sort of coinciding with another woman who is the type of woman who can have children and absolutely hates being a mother. And it was just a really interesting read. Roxane Gay really knows how to make you think about the state of society and being a woman in society and feminism. This is a really, really good book. Is it I literally cannot shut up about it? I don't think so. I'm being strict with that, which is crazy because I give it 5 stars like a candy. But I think Graceful Burdens is a solid 5-star read. I would recommend it to anybody. It's just not something I'm obsessed with. The Contractors by Lisa Ko is about a woman working in basically an exploitative workplace, and around the world there's another woman working for the same company with the exact same name as her, and they have a bit of communication and decide to make a change for themselves. And this was interesting, but it was kind of boring to me. I don't know. I didn't really connect to the story that well, so I'm going to put it in I've already forgotten about it. Halfway to Free, cannot remember anything about it. I know that I liked all the books in this series, but I just genuinely do not remember it at all, so we know where it's going. Sweet Virginia is kind of along the same lines. I do remember the plot of it. It's about a woman who is sort of seeking something more than motherhood and career have to offer, and she ends up in a cult-like situation. It was strange, it was interesting, but I've already forgotten about it. Bear Witness, I really didn't like. I remember being angry at one of the main characters in the book. I know that it takes place largely within a courtroom, and a man is accused of either stalking or killing someone, and it's a woman in the jury is the main character, and her just like takes on everything just really bothered me. I know that was kind of point to the story, but it wasn't fun for me. So I'm gonna put this in There's a Special Place in Hell. Next we have One of Those Flings by Lauren Blakely. Couldn't tell you a thing about this book. It's saying I listened to it on Audible, but it was not memorable, so I've clearly forgotten about it. Okay, Snow Day is another Audible original. I hated this so much that I had it at 3 times speed because I was just trying to finish it. It's about a woman and a man who are total strangers, and their train gets stranded way far away from where they're supposed to be. So they have a crazy Christmas Eve night in the middle of like the mountains in Italy or something like that. The writing on this made me so angry. It was just so frustratingly, like, I don't know. I felt like, this is gonna sound mean, but it felt like a 6th grader's like story. I hated it so much, and I would never recommend this to anyone ever. So it's going into Special Place in Hell. House on the Water by Margot Hunt is a thriller, and I believe it's about a woman who discovers her husband's affair while they're on like a couple's vacation and a murder happens. I don't really remember. I remember liking it at the time, but I'm gonna put it in forgotten about it because I've clearly forgotten about it. Bridesmaids, it's another Audible original short story. I remember liking this. I just can't remember the finer details. It is an MM romance, and I think it's about the best friend of a bride and the best friend of a groom, and they're in the wedding party together, and one of them is like a small town sheriff, I think. I can't remember, but I'm gonna put it in nothing to write home about because I remember I enjoyed it. Just couldn't tell you what it's about. Perfect Play is Brother's Teammate. It's like a football romance. Again, this is another Audible original that I read, and I thought this was just okay. I didn't enjoy it that much. I've already forgotten about it. One Little Mistake by Lucinda Berry. It's a book I read, forgotten about it. Catch Her in a Lie. This, I think, was part of a larger series. I remember really liking this. I don't know that it was a 5-star read, but it was a good little like a mystery thriller type thing about a woman who is escaping the law from a crime that she committed that maybe was 100% justified. The next two, Uncharted Waters and Belmer, don't remember a thing about them. They are in the thriller vein, but they're totally out of my brain. Stockholm was really good. I know this is going to a 5-star tier. It's about a woman whose husband takes her on vacation in Stockholm, except for that he is abusive to her, and she is desperately trying to figure out a way to escape. This was really, really good. 5-star read. Aftershock is a little YA novella, and it's about two half-sisters who get stranded during an earthquake, and they go on this quest to find their father, but they didn't grow up together. They don't really know each other that well, so it's sort of a story of bonding and coming together as family. This was really cute, really heartfelt. I would say it's nothing to write home about. The Magician was really interesting. It's about a woman grappling with her mother who is very successful in the field of magic, and her mother's legacy sort of overshadows who her mother actually is to her. I thought this was pretty good. I'm gonna put this in 5-star read. Deluge and Mother Country, they're both part of the same Amazon original series as The Magician. I just couldn't tell you the plot of them. I don't really remember them. Next we have Black Vault. Black Vault is about a government agent who many years ago claims he saw like a UFO, and for most of his career he was laughed at and demoted because of this, and then one day he is working in the field and a bunch of other people see what he says he saw all those years ago. I like this one a lot. I'm gonna say this is a 5-star read. Now we have a series of sci-fi space futuristic novellas. Included in that is Just Out of Jupiter's Reach, Falling Bodies, Slow Time Between the Stars, The Long Game, How It Unfolds, and Void. All of these are part of like original Amazon series, and I enjoyed every single one of these, which rarely ever happens. There's usually 1 or 2 stinkers when I read these Amazon original stories collections. I liked all of these, and I'm saying that as someone who's not really that into science fiction or like Star Wars-y, Star Trek things, but I really enjoyed these stories, and honestly like made me a little bit more interested in sci-fi. So all of these are gonna go into 5-star reads. The Den is a middle grade novella about 2 friends who find a underground bunker and they decide to keep it their little secret. This was cute. It's nothing to write home about. Caught by the Kingpin. It honestly does make me a little mad, but I think that's just because I'm not super into like stalker romances. And I think that people who are into stalker romances would be into this. So I might possibly recommend it if people are into that. For me, this was a no. I'm gonna put it into already forgotten about it only because it didn't make me angry. Ooh, Pram by Joe Hill. This was so good. It's so eerie and so weird and spooky. I don't even want to like give anything away. I just think you need to read it. If you like anything supernatural, culty, or mysterious, you have to read this short little story. It's so creepy and weird, and I loved it. This is going into, drumroll please, I literally cannot shut up about it. It's really, really good. I think it's like a 6-star read, and it's just like a teeny tiny little thriller. A lot of the ones in this series I actually really enjoyed. I love a good thriller, and these were so eerie and weird, and yes, this is going in the top tier. Okay, Next, we have a series of hockey romances. There's like 18 of them in this anthology, I guess, and it features a bunch of hockey players and their different romances they have. There is ones, there is forbidden romance, second chance romance, best friend to lovers, enemies to lovers. Every trope you could think of is represented in one of these books. I think I've read 10 of them, something like that. They are almost all just okay. There was one or two that were like a little bit better than others, but I wouldn't put any of them into a 5-star read category. They are very short, so if you're looking for like a very short and sweet little spicy hockey romance, this might be something you're interested in, but none of them were good enough for me to put them anywhere above I've forgotten about it already, unfortunately. I think that is what I'm gonna have to do. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I don't think they're worth your time, to be honest. We have Librarian Book Boyfriend. I did read this one. It was okay. Don't think there's a special place in hell for it, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. And the man she described had like one of those mustaches that went like that, and I just can never find that attractive. So it's going, and I've already forgotten about it. But I maybe should have done a tier between that and There's a Special Place in Hell. So, you know, House by Lisa Unger, ooky spooky. That was very spooky. I'm gonna put it in solid 5-star read. The Nosy Neighbor was actually really cute and funny. I thought this was pretty good. And there was like a plot twist at the end that I found hilarious. So I'm gonna put this into 5-star read. I think Nina Prose is hilarious. I love her writing. So yeah, I'm not surprised that I enjoyed it. One Lucky Subscriber, yeah, this is about a girl who participates in like a Mr. Beast style YouTuber game and uncovers a robbery. It wasn't for me, but you know. A Kiss on a Dare was a Christmas doctor's romance novel. It was kind of spicy. It was fun, but it's nothing to write home about. The Fall Rush by Abby Jimenez, that was really fun. It was really cute, but I don't think it was anything to write home about. However, it did make me interested in looking into other Abby Jimenez books because I haven't read one of her full-length books before. I've only read like the little novella. So I'm gonna put it in nothing to write home about, but hopefully it opens the door to other Abby Jimenez books that I will love. The Sublet, I did enjoy. It is another thriller, but it's nothing to write home about for me. Jackknife was another weird one that I did enjoy. It's about a mysterious tree and history repeating itself, and I think this is a 5-star read worthy book. This telling resonated with me so much. This is about a mother who gave her daughter up for adoption, and as someone who's adopted, these types of stories always kind of, it's gonna go in solid 5-star read for me. And similarly is The Heart of a Mother. It is another adoption, giving your child up for adoption story, and it was a 5-star read for me. Everything My Mother Taught Me is going to go into it, not shut up about it. I talked about it a couple of videos ago when I was recommending novellas. It's a really, really good story with a little bit of mystery, but it features a girl who is selectively mute ever since her father died, and her mother just cannot stand it. She doesn't have a very good mother, and her mother moves her onto this like island where a lighthouse is operated, and she has to keep her mother's secrets until maybe she doesn't. I really enjoyed this one. I cannot shut up about it. It is going into I literally cannot shut up about it. Ooh, Mismatched is a modern day queer retelling of Emma by Jane Austen. I love Jane Austen. I love Emma. I hated Mismatch. The main character was so incredibly insufferable and self-absorbed in every single way that it made me so mad. I didn't like it at all. I don't like that type of character. He was just like nitpicky. He was very critical of other people. He was very like, I don't know, he just kind of thought he was above everyone. And I would never recommend this. I didn't like it at all. Got it as an ARC, so that's why I even read it in the first place. But no, this was terrible. There's a special place in hell for it, especially because it's an Emma retelling. The Mosquito was a fun little one. It's about this man who's being driven insane by a mosquito in his room. It was good, but it's nothing to write home about. Poppy's story was okay, but it was a prequel to another novel, which obviously I haven't read. So for me, I didn't really get a lot out of it. It's going and I've already forgotten about it, but I do think maybe if I had read the companion novel, I probably would have liked it more. Mr. Right Now, unfortunately for me, total miss. Didn't really like it, and that's all I'll say about it. This is not a novella, so let's move on to the next one. Planned Occasion, I couldn't tell you about it. I've already forgotten about it. Big Bad, I'm going to put into I literally cannot shut up about it. This is another novella that I recommended a few videos ago. It's about a family with a dark secret, and one night that comes to a head, and I thought it was spectacular. The Days Before Us, again, can't remember it. People Like Them, I remember enjoying it in the moment. I can't remember anything about it. So yeah, it's a pretty big tier. Road Home, same thing. Bloom by Paul Tremblay. I really enjoyed this one. This was another weird one. It's about like a natural weather phenomenon, I guess. Definitely worth a read. This is a 5-star read for me. Ankle Snatcher by Grady Hendrix. I'm gonna put this in I literally cannot shut up about it. In some ways, I absolutely hated the book just because like the story like creeped me out. And then the plot twist at the end made it even more insane and like made me feel uneasy, but so good. I really like Grady Hendrix, so this is going in I cannot shut up about it. A Mirror Mended and A Spindle Splintered. I think they're going to go into solid 5-star reads. Now, I do recommend these all the time when I'm talking about novellas. If you're into fairy tale retellings, this is like a sapphic Sleeping Beauty retelling, and there's 2 little novellas. They're both really good, and they're a good time. I can shut up about it. So 5-star reads, but they're not top tier material for me. The Cleaners was okay. I would say it's nothing to write home about. The Wickeds is a retelling about wicked stepmothers in fairy tales. I thought this was a lot of fun. I'm gonna put this in 5-star reads. Sing Anyway was one of those ones that I felt myself dragging through it. I just didn't really enjoy the writing style. For me, I'm gonna put it in There's a Special Place in Hell, but it might be for someone. I don't know that I would like never, I would never recommend this. So The Indigo Room, do you remember The Indigo Room? It's about a woman in a board reading who I think gets a glimpse of the future. I guess it has to go and I've already forgotten about it, which is kind of embarrassing because it's the biggest tier. The Blanks by Grady Hendrix. Again, Grady Hendrix can do no wrong. This is literally cannot shut up about it. This was a very, very unsettling story about a family who has a vacation home on an island, but the island holds secrets and only the residents of the island know about the secrets, and the creature that is represented in this book scared me so bad. The Letter Slot is another interesting one. It's about a teenager who slips a letter into a model home's letter slot one day, and the next day the thing that he wished for came true, but it came with a consequence. And so he realizes that he can make wishes at this letter slot, but there's always like a dire consequence, like something bad will happen to someone that he knows if something good happens to him. I found this really interesting. I would put this on the 5-star tier. Night and Day in Misery was really sad. It's about a mother who experienced the loss of a child, and every year she goes back to the place where her child was lost. This is about abuse and child loss and grief, and it's a hard read, but to me it was a really, really good read, and I would put this in 5-star. I'm coming down to the 2 most recent novellas that I read. This was not part of the 100 Days of Novellas, but Death Row by Frida McFadden, which is about a woman who is on death row, but she swears she's innocent, and one day she sees her husband visiting someone else at the prison, and it unravels her story. This was not bad, and considering my history with Frida McFadden novellas, that's saying something. I don't honestly think it's a 5-star read, but I love Frida McFadden. I'm gonna put it in Nothing to Write Home About because I just think it's okay. And last we have Space Vampire. I don't think that I can literally not shut up about this, but I immediately am gonna put it in 5-star read. Again, this is literally about a vampire in space, and it's like a monster romance, and I'm not that big on monster romances, so color me surprised when I actually really enjoyed this. It was fun, it was ridiculous, and it was very easy to read. It's pretty spicy too, and I didn't hate the spice, so maybe I do enjoy monster romances. Obviously, Ruby Dixon is like the queen of monster romances, so that's probably why I enjoyed it, and very much to my surprise, a 5-star read. And there we have it. There is my tier ranking for all the novellas that I read in 2025. It was 105 novellas, which is an insane amount, and only 5 of them I cannot shut up about. The rest kind of fall under that, but I'm happy with this tier ranking. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some inspiration if you're looking for novellas to read. And if you have a favorite novella that I haven't mentioned, please drop it in the comments, because I'm always looking for a very short little bite-sized read in between reading or when I'm in a reading slump. If you've read any of these and you have feelings on them, also let me know below, especially if you disagree, because I love hearing other people's opinions on the books that I loved or hated. That's one of my favorite things about being part of a community of readers, is that we all have different opinions, and that's kind of what makes this community so beautiful, is that we all have one thing in common. It's we love to read and we love books, even if preferences are different. So that was today's video. I hope this was fun. It's a little bit different than a regular vlog, but I will see you in the next one tomorrow.